Very strange moment of history, and we are commemorating, if you will, a very contradictory reality. 1948 saw the birth of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the birth of the Convention Against Genocide. It could have set the stage for an era of human rights in the post-World War II era. But 1948 was also the year that gave rise to apartheid in South Africa and to the Nakba in Palestine. And instead of an era of human rights, we saw a continuation of the era of settler colonialism, knowing that settler colonialism, even though it was under attack, it was being ended in so much of the world through brave struggles across Africa, the Middle East, Asia, Latin America. In this case, settler colonialism was not over, and the Nakba of 1948 transformed Palestine. It transformed Palestinian history, and it consolidated one of the last colonial projects in the era of decolonization. Both South African apartheid and the Nakba in Palestine were enabled by Western colonial and imperial interests. South Africa and Namibia are now free, playing an extraordinary role in the world. And now the United States, unlike the earliest stages of the Nakba, but now for sure, the US is the main enabler of the current version of the Nakba, which is underway, particularly what we see in the genocide in Gaza, which is funded and armed by the United States, arming genocide through its provision of military aid, transfer of weapons, and the provision of absolute impunity to the Israeli state for its violations of international law, international humanitarian law, and the human rights of the population. We have already seen in this escalation of the Nakba, we have seen 3 times as many people killed in Gaza, in a very small piece of historic Palestine, than were killed during the original Nakba in 1948. 36,000 people known to be killed, tens of thousands, probably more, buried under the rubble. 15,000 were killed in the period of the Nakba in 1948. 500 villages were destroyed in the Nakba in 1948. In Gaza, we have already seen the destruction of 6 major cities, 8 major refugee camps, and virtually the entire infrastructure of the Gaza Strip, all destroyed. The expulsion and dispossession of 750,000 Palestinians in 1948 in the Nakba has now led to the expulsion and dispossession, in many cases more than once, of 1.3 to 1.5 million of Gaza's 2.3 million people already. And that is underway over and over again on a daily basis. What we see shared in the period from 1948 until 2023 and now 2024 is that none of this was accidental. None of this was simply the unfortunate result of a military battle, because we see the deliberate nature of these attacks. We see the plan, because it's the same plan. The plan for ethnic cleansing, for seizing the land, for settling new colonies on what had been Palestinian land. Before October 7th of 2023, the year 2023, those first 8 months, had already been the bloodiest months across the occupied Palestinian territory since 1948.